All right, everyone. Good morning. Hello, Charlene. I'm teacher Nathan from Writing at Work. And this morning, we'll be looking at the Maha Bodhi Weighted Assessment 1 paper, as well as the Cat High Weighted Assessment 1 paper. Okay? This is slightly different, so it's not a full paper per se, but we're just looking at the various components and we'll zoom in on the skills as well as the tips and tricks needed to do well in them. Alright, let's take a look at this Maha Bodhi paper first. Okay, first we have the vocabulary section. Question 1 here. The man dashed with bags of money after robbing the bank. So we are looking at how he escaped with the money. That's the first thing, and the next keyword here is you rob the bank. Okay, so we are looking at how they escape. And over here we are interested in phrasal verbs. So looking at the options, first one is made off. Made off means that you leave quickly to escape. Next, made out means to see, hear, or read something despite difficulty. Made up means that you invent an untrue story. While made over means you improve something by changing certain parts or working on it. Yes, good morning, Pui O Niao. So we are looking at how the robbers managed to escape with the money. Then our answer here will be number 1. Now moving on, let's take a look at question 2. Mr. Tan always dash by working non-stop in everything he does. So over here, we are looking at the keyword working non-stop. So looking at our keywords, the first one is break his back, which means you work extremely hard. Hold his horses means you stop and consider a decision carefully. Makes a beeline means you move quickly and directly towards something. And lastly, sits on the fence means to not make a decision. Although two opinions are presented. As such, our answer here would be number 1, because he is working non-stop at doing something.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The fire alarm has been activated in the building. We are investigating the
Moving on, let's take a look.
Remain calm and stand by near the speakers for further announcement.
Let's take a look at question 3 now.
Ladies and gentlemen,
all the prize winners were invited to a party where a dash meal awaited them.
Please remain calm and stand by when you
So we are looking at a meal here. So it's related to food. Now, looking at the options. The first one is plush. Plush means something is richly luxurious and expensive. Next, luscious here means something produces a sweet taste. Grandiose means something is impressive and imposing in appearance or style. While sumptuous means something is splendid and expensive looking. So in this case, we are looking at how the food is give me a moment. Sumptuous. Yes. So over here, when we talk about splendid and expensive looking, we usually refer to meals over here. All right. As such, our answer here will be number 4. Well, this has got to do with the context in which we use these words. So for plush here, we are looking usually at the settings. So usually the interior of, let's say, a 5-star hotel, things like that. And option 2 and 3 is not directly related to the high price or something, so we wouldn't consider them for this question. Now, moving on, let's take a look at question 4. It is normal for our eyes to take some time to dash to the dark. So the first thing that we observe is the word eyes. And the next thing is to the dark. So the eyes need to take some time to get used to the dark or surrounding which is not so bright as the eyes are used to see. So looking at our option, the first one is adjust. Means you move something to achieve the desired fit. Next, when you accept something, you basically consent or you agree to receive or undertake something. When you are accustomed to something, you make something or somebody accept it. While accommodate, it means that you fit the request or the needs of someone. So we're looking at how the eyes need to get used to something. We would use the term adjust to the dark. We will not use the word accustomed because we are just looking at a one-time scenario. If you are looking at, for example, the miner who does the work in the dark for a long time, and there are contextual clues that tell you that the miner is very experienced or he has done this for quite some time, then we can use the word a custom. Okay, so one of the meaning is they can accept it, but for some of you who are aware, a custom can also mean that you are very used to something already. All right, let's take a look at question 5 now. The hunter dashed his listeners with his dramatic accounts of his encounters with the wildlife in Africa. So over here, we're looking at how there is a dramatic account. So it must be very interesting that it can attract the reader's attention. With that in mind, let's take a look at some of the options given. The first one is entice, which means that you attract or you tempt somebody with pleasure or benefits. So for example, the customer was enticed to buy the new mobile phone because of the discounts that come with it. And snare here means that you catch something in a trap. So we usually talk about the animal being ensnared in the trap. When you are enthralled, it means that you have captured the fascinated attention of someone. And lastly, when you are engrossed, it means that you give attention fully to someone. Because we are interested in looking at or people are interested to listen to something, it means that they are very curious and they want to find out more, and they have the attention. They give their attention to the hunter. As such, our answer here will be number 3, when you are enthralled. Yeah, for this question here, our answer would be you are enthralled because the hunter managed to capture the attention. When you are engrossed, you can see it's not about person A capturing the attention of everybody else. When you are engrossed, it means person A is giving the attention to something. So let's say the person is engrossed with his work, then it will mean this is a giving of the attention. Whereas when you look at enthralled, we are looking at the attracting of this attention. Can you see how it goes? It's not it is one is the attention towards the person, one is the person is giving the attention away. So in this case, the hunter is attracting the attention of people. But if we were to change the question to the listeners at the start, then the listeners will be engrossed because the listeners are giving attention to somebody. So when we look at vocab questions, you can see that even when you search the dictionary, they have very similar meaning. Option 3 and 4 are good examples. But you need to understand the contextual use of the vocab, because not all vocab can be just plugged and pasted into any context and you assume that the sentence will make sense. Okay, so I hope everybody is aware of this. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here before we move on to our next few questions. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at question 6. So what will happen is we'll read through this text together and I'll explain the words that are underlined. Once we are done, we will delve into the options and understand why we don't choose certain options, and we'll derive the answers then. Okay, Muri had gone to Thailand because of the great beauty of the sea there. There are many shades of green in that water and they shimmered like painted jewels. So when you shimmer, it means that you shine with slightly wavering light. Out of the deep waters of the sea are wonderful strange islands. Sometimes Muri preferred to hire an elephant and ride up the jungle paths into the cool of the forest. The elephant's great grey feet were almost soundless on the path. So soundless here means making no sound. Or you can say it's very silent. So the birds and butterflies were not intimidated and frightened away. So when you talk about intimidated, means that you frighten somebody to make them do what you want. Today, however, the elephants were creating a pandemonium. Pandemonium means a wild, noisy disorder or confusion. They were trumpeting and stamping, waving their trunks wildly from side to side. The men who looked after them were trying to calm them. However, their efforts were in vain. So when you're trying to calm something, it means that you make somebody tranquil. It means you're trying to make the person very peaceful, or you're trying to soothe the person. Okay, I'll just leave this here for a moment so that you can take in this information first before we move on further. Alright, question 6 here. Test you on the word shimmered, which means something is shining with a wavering light. So imagine you are looking at the waves on a very sunny day. So the waves will reflect light and you can see it's like shine, it's like the wave will only produce that shine when the sun is shining at it at a certain angle. So looking at the options, when you say glinted, it means that you give out or reflect small flashes of light. Glossed means that you shine, there's some kind of shine or luster of a smooth surface. So when we talk about gloss or the word glossy, you can think of, for example, your wooden floor, your parquet flooring at home. When it's polished, you have this kind of gloss. So it's a shine of a very flat and a very smooth surface. Now, when you use the word glowed, it means that you give out a steady light. So we could talk about how the fireflies, they are able to glow in the dark with their natural light emitting organs. Lastly, we have glisten. Glisten means that you shine with the sparkling light. So as we can see, each of these options here have a element of shining, got to do with light. So how do we differentiate them? Well, if we look back at the meaning of shimmer, there's this element here, slightly wavering. That means the shine and the intensity of the shine is not just fully like your house, like just shining brightly of one intensity all the time. So if you look at the options here, when we talk about steady light, that means the intensity is the same. So we wouldn't consider this. Okay. Now there isn't a smooth surface because we're looking at the sea. And if you know, the water needs to be choppy and there needs to be movement so that the light can shimmer, because it's like suddenly there's this bright spark here, then no more. Then another side there's another bright spark. So it's like you're talking about how the intensity and the frequency of this bright spark of light or that shine actually changes and moves around as the waves moves. So definitely not a smooth surface. Now then we'll look at this small flashes of light as well as sparkling light. Now when you glint, it's like when your aeroplane fly at night, it's that little light that just shine at the, usually we are looking at the same spot. So it's like that same light giving out a small flash, for example your aeroplane wings, right? If you sit at the window seat, you'll see that glint of light. But no, over here we're looking at how the sparks happen all around, and it's that kind of diamond-like spark. It's not the kind of flash of a human light. We're looking at natural reflection of light. Therefore, the answer will be number 4, when you glisten. Okay? Now, looking at question 7 now, we're looking at how the elephant was soundless when he walked. That means the feet of the elephant is not noisy. You cannot hear the movement. So looking at the options, the first one is noiseless, which means silent. So it's like a direct synonym, or very quiet. Speechless means you're unable to speak due to shock. Unintelligible means that something is impossible to understand. So for example, the dolphins' communication sounds in the sea is unintelligible to humans. We don't understand what are they trying to tell one another. Imperceptible here means that something is unable to be noticed or felt. So you can see, some of you may have the option, some of you may have the ideas. Obviously, option 2 and 3 are out because they have no relation to sound. Then what about option 4? But this option here, the main focus is on being noticed. That means you're trying to detect the movement. But if you go back to our question, which is over here, this idea of soundless, the focus is on the sound, on the hearing. So it's not so much about the movement, not so much about that feeling. Okay, so as such, we would use option 1, noiseless, because this is related to your sound. Okay, now we have question 8. When you talk about being intimidated, that means you frighten somebody, and in so doing, you make someone do something for you. So looking at our options, the first one is when you are shocked. This means that you are surprised and upset. Offended means that you are resentful. That means there's some kind of hate. And annoyed. Annoyed means you are like irritated by something. Next, when you interrupt something, it means you stop a person from speaking. For a short time. And lastly, when you threaten, that means you state the intent of doing something hostile. Hostile, that means aggressive, is something that is bad. Okay, unless they do something. So it's this idea that you're trying to frighten and make someone scared because of the consequences. And because they're scared, they'll be willing to do something for you. So in this case here, our answer will be number 4. Because there's this element of a threat or this aggressive action, and because they are afraid of the consequence, they will do something. So it's a two-step approach when you threaten or you intimidate somebody. All right. Moving on, let's take a look at number 9. When there is pandemonium, which means a very wild, very noisy confusion. Everyone is amok, A-M-O-K. It's very crazy. Okay. So looking at our options, the first one here is row, R-O-W, which means there's a noisy quarrel. Turmoil means there's a state of great disturbance. Or you also can talk about how there's a lot of confusion. So usually we talk about large-scale events as turmoil. For example, in some African or Middle East countries, there's turmoil because there isn't a government to lead the people, and people are just doing what they like, and therefore there's a lot of chaos. There isn't law and order. Disaster here means that there is a sudden accident or natural catastrophe. Which causes damage and death. So usually we talk about this in terms of like natural disaster, an earthquake, a hurricane, etc. that no one expects. Okay. And lastly, we have the word commotion, which means a noisy and a noisy disturbance or a confusion. All right. So we are looking at how someone is trying to disrupt something, and because of this disruption, everyone is very unsure of what's happening or what is the next step. So you can see all these 4 options have a very similar meaning in terms of we're looking at an unpleasant event that has caused great distress to people because you don't know what to do, you're feeling very anxious, you know. So how do we differentiate them? Well, we can when we look at pandemonium, there needs to be a lot of people doing things. So it's not just a quarrel. We are not just looking at 2 people arguing and the remaining people become confused. We're looking at how there are multiple people doing multiple things. So there can be imagine like 10 people arguing at the same time, and the remaining hundreds of people don't know what is happening, and some of them are supporting the argument, some of them are running around. So row here is too mild already. But at the same time, we can't consider this a disaster because there is no contextual clue to suggest it is sudden, that suddenly everyone was arguing with one another, everyone was trying to fight with one another, right? Turmoil here is the idea is there, but it is of too large a scale. It needs to be of a large scale event, for example, national turmoil, right? It cannot be just because of few elephants being confused and not following their trainers, that there'll be turmoil. Okay, so the context and the extent of the confusion is very important, and we need to take note. So turmoil here isn't the answer. So this leaves us with the only answer: commotion. Lastly, we talk about how the trainer try to calm the elephant down. They try to soothe the elephant. It's like you're trying to tell the elephant, assure the elephant that everything is okay and there is no need for that confusion and anxiety. So over here we have a few options. The first one is ease. Ease means there is an absence of difficulty or effort. So we are looking like at the root word of easy. Hush means you make someone quiet or stop talking. Pacify means that you're trying to quell anger or agitation. So if you're trying to like reduce the intensity of frustration, irritation people feel. And console means that you're trying to make somebody who is unhappy happy or cheerful. So there needs to be this idea that someone is angry, and you need to talk about the reason why that person is angry. Maybe he lost a game, and therefore you try to make him happy or cheerful in that sense. But no, this sentence here, we're just looking at the elephants being anxious or confused and how you try to stop them. So our answer actually would be number 3, trying to quell that kind of anxiety, that kind of anger, irritation, things like that. Okay? So I'll just give everyone some time to take in this information here before we move on to our next section. All right, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at this grammar clause here. So the grammar close goes. It is no secret that the world's coral reefs are in bad shape. Climate change has led dash widespread coral bleaching. So we are looking at a cause effect. Climate change and this bleaching of coral means the corals cannot produce, that isn't in the correct condition and the corals cannot adapt to it. Okay, so my cause and effect. And we observe we have the word led. So when you want to link these two things together to show that relationship between the cause and effect, we'll say it led to the bleaching of corals. Overfishing had disrupted the ecosystems dash keep reefs healthy. So over here we are looking at how the ecosystems, you're going to replace this with a pronoun. So ecosystem here are non-human, so we'll say which keeps the reef healthy. Harmful materials dash human industries are destroying the coral reefs. So we are looking at this source here. Where does your harmful material come from? All these human industries. So we'll use the preposition from here. A new study has highlighted there's another threat to coral reefs. So for question 14 here, we are looking at how you're trying to emphasize that, after we have learned about climate change, now there's another threat here. So we'll use the word yet. Okay, so this is a conjunction. Sometimes it's used for contrast, but in this case here, we're looking at how this threat is another thing, is another problem. So we're trying to highlight this. You're trying to emphasize this new problem. Researchers had analyzed more than 134,000 corals and 159 reefs. So we are looking at some kind of comparison. So the word that will always accompany is more than. The team estimates, yes, very good, the team estimates that at dash 11 billion plastic items are trapped. Give me a moment. Are trapped at dash 11 billion plastic items are trapped in coral reefs. So for question 16 over here, we are looking at more than this number. So it will always be at least. In dash Asia Pacific region. So we are looking at this very specific location here. The article that we will use will be at the Asia Pacific region. They believe that this number will increase by 40% dash 2025. So we are looking at this particular deadline here and how a certain phenomenon, which is the quantity of plastic, will increase. So we will use the term by 2025. This is a preposition, so sometimes it can be used to show method and the source, but in this case we are looking at this particular deadline that something can happen. This could spell disaster dash the world's coral reefs. So over here we are looking at, it's Maha Bodhi school paper, 小魔鬼. The disaster, and we're trying to elaborate where is the disaster going to happen. So that's why we say this is disaster for the world's coral reefs. And the team found that the likelihood of corals developing a disease jumps from 4 to 89% when corals come dash contact with plastic. So we're trying to see this preposition here, and when we talk about come and together with this preposition, is actually a phrasal verb to talk about how they interact with plastics. As such, it will be you come into contact. Right? So I've written here interact with plastics. Okay, with that, we have come to the end of this Maha Bodhi section. I'll just need some time to let you take in the information in our grammar close before we move on to our Cat High paper. Okay, there are no further questions. Then this is all for our Maha Bodhi paper. Let's go on to Cat High paper. We'll take a look at some grammar questions first, alright? First question. The unfinished plate of spaghetti on the table was what Mary ate for lunch earlier. Dash. So this one is, oh, your school is Maha Bodhi School. Oh, that's great. So have you done the paper before, Xiao Mo Gui? So over here, we're interested in question tag. Okay, very good. No. You identified the correct thing to change, but we're looking at the spaghetti, not Mary. I'm now in P5. Oh, okay, that's great. So I think you will encounter this WA2 paper soon. Xiao Mo Gui. That's good. That's good to hear. Okay, back to our paper now. We are looking at unfinished plate of spaghetti, so it should be wasn't it. Looking at question 2, the dictionary, together with some storybooks, dashed to the children's home last week. So we are interested here in tenses. The first thing we observe is the dictionary. So this is singular. Xiao Mo Gui, you want to look at your answer again? Relook at your answer. Last week. So we correctly identified that it is past tense. But we're just looking at one dictionary. So it's a singular subject. As such, our answer here would be number 3, was donated. So you can see when there's two commas together, this information here is extra info that we will not consider when choosing our answer. Now, some of you may be asking, then why would there be is donated, are donated? Alright, especially this, the first two. Well, because this sentence is in the passive form. So actually, if it's in the active form, it will be, we donated the dictionary together with some books to the children's home last week. Okay, so actually it's just donated, but because we changed the sentence structure, therefore the way that we will need to look at the question will be different. Now moving on, let's take a look at question 3 here. The news dash so saddening that she cried for hours last night. So first thing we observe is this is question 3. We are looking at the subject verb agreement question. News here is uncountable, and therefore we will use the singular. We will consider it as a singular subject. And you can see we talked about how this happened in the past because it was last night. As such, these two criteria will point us to the answer as number 3. Alright, moving on to question 4 now. Neither the children nor their mother dash to go to the shopping mall tomorrow. So first thing we observe is this is related to tenses again. The first thing we observe is tomorrow. So it's a future event, and therefore we will use present tense. Next thing we observe is 小魔鬼, your option 4 is for which question? Number 4, is it? Next, we observe mother here. So mother is closer to my blank. So by applying the rule of proximity, we will consider this as a singular subject and present tense. So I don't think the answer is correct. 小魔鬼. So in this case, our answer here would be number 2 because of these two criteria. Now, has and have wanted here are known as your present perfect form. And you will only use this when the action is completed, but the effect is still felt. So for example, I have read the news and want to know more. So by the very fact that you have read the news, that means the action of reading the newspaper is completed. But you can see that the curiosity is still present. That's why there's the next part which is I want to know more. And therefore, this means that the effect is still felt. But for this case, it's very clear cut that it is a future event because the children and the mother haven't gone to the shopping center yet. So we cannot choose option 3 and 4. Okay, so I'll just give everyone some time to take in this information here on this page here before we move on to our next few questions. Alright. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at the next section. Here, question 6. Dash the corner of my eye, I saw a blur movement among the bushes, and it turned out to be a stray cat. So over here, give me a moment, let me take out my, okay. So over here, we're interested in, question 5, right? Question 5, where is it? Yeah, we're interested in prepositions. The first thing we observe is corner of my eye. So this really tells me a source. How do you know there's a stray cat? By your looking. Okay, so in this case, we are looking at a preposition to show source. Looking at the options, at shows location, in shows position, on shows the surface of object, while from shows a source. So because I'm interested to tell people that I use my eye to see the stray cat, we will always be number 4, from the corner of my eyes. Okay? Yeah, very good, 小魔鬼. Okay, let's go on to vocabulary. So over here, our neighbors asked us to dash their cat for a week after they were planning to go on a vacation. So we are looking at how they are trying to take care of the cat. Alright, so let me just write here, take care. So looking at the options given to us, the first one is you want to look on. When you look on, it means that you watch something happen, but you are not involved. Look for means that you search for something. When you look out, it means that you watch what is happening and you be careful. Look after means you take care of someone or something. So in this case, we're looking at how you provide the food, the affection for the cat. Therefore, we will consider the answer to be you look after and you take care of it. Okay, let's take a look at question 7. Two friends manage to dash their differences. They have since been able to get along with each other. So the idea is you're trying to iron out and you do not let your differences affect their relationship. And you can see how they get along with each other, which means that they are able to be on good terms. They can talk to one another nicely, etc. They can work together. So looking at the options, the first one is you solve. When you solve something, you are looking at the answer or the explanation to a problem. Next, when you resolve something, you're trying to end a difficulty. When you revolve, it means that you move around a circle. So you could say the earth revolves around the sun. Lastly, when you dissolve, it means that your solid is mixed and absorbed by liquid. So all of us know we are looking at people, so dissolve definitely is out. When you revolve around something, it also doesn't really tie in with our conflict management here. So we have two answers, solve and resolve. So no, the answer will not be solve, because when you solve something, there needs to be a problem. And this problem, there needs to be an answer to it. Okay, so usually it's related to something that is non-human. For example, you solve the problem of the leaking tap. What's the answer? You change the tap or you do some plumbing works. So the answer needs to be tangible. When we look at this kind of friendship issue, there isn't a straightforward answer and things like that. So we will use the answer as resolve, because you're trying to end the difficulty, but it may not be fully, maybe temporarily, things like that. Okay? Now let's take a look at question 8. She had to dash from sugary drinks as she had to keep her weight under control. So the idea is here, keep the weight under control. That means you're trying to be on a diet. All right? So looking at our options, the first one is you ban something. When you ban something, it means that you officially or you legally, that means you use the law to prohibit something. So for example, vape is banned in Singapore. That means under the law, you can go to jail or be fined if you possess or you use certain things. When you abstain, it means that you restrain yourself from doing something you enjoy. Prevent means you keep something from happening. So for example, your traffic lights prevent pedestrians and cars from accidents. And withhold means that you refuse to give someone something they desire. So for example, your parents could withhold your rights to use your handphone if you misuse it or you're addicted to your phone. So in this case, we're looking at how sugary drinks is something that probably the female in this sentence likes to drink. But she has to keep herself from something that she enjoys, which is to consume these drinks. So we'll say it's number 2, you abstain. Okay, so very good, 小魔鬼. Okay, moving on. The dash of musicians blasted their brassy jazz during the festival. The audience swayed their bodies joyfully to the music. So question 9 here, we are looking at how the musicians, and we're looking at this term to talk about this group of people. A cast is basically actors in film. Okay, a band here is a group of musicians playing modern music. So actually this is what we are looking at, therefore our answer will be number 2. A choir is an organized group of singers. So we are not looking at people who play instruments. Musicians play instruments, a choir sings. Well, a board here is basically a group responsible for controlling an organization. So in terms of like your school, it could refer to all your principals, etc., your HOD, head of department, things like that. Lastly, we have question 10 here. Mary clenched her fist in anger and dashed at the bullies who were picking on the boy. So you can see, when you clench a fist in anger here, it means that you're trying to be aggressive. So this word on the that is in the blank here is also referring to an act of hostility or aggression that you want to stop the bully, right? You want the bully to feel intimidated. So looking at our options, the first one is you gaze. You gaze means you look intently at something. So sometimes you gaze in admiration or you gaze in surprise. When you glance at something, you take a brief, hurried look. So you just take a quick look at something that you, for example, you leave. When you glimpse at something, it means that you have a momentary or partial view. So probably you cannot have the full view of something, maybe because something is blocking you, things like that. Okay, and lastly we have glowered, which means that you have an angry, sullen look at someone. And we can see over here that the anger is related to this blank. As such, our answer will be number 4, when she glowered at the bullies. Okay, this is all for our vocab section. I'll just give everyone some time to take in this information here before we move on to our subsequent parts. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at our comprehension close now. The sky is getting dark. The sun starts to dash and a red fox wakes up and stretches, ready to search for dinner. Okay, so first thing, the sky is getting dark. So this clue already tells me that it's going to become night time. And therefore, your sun will start to set. She hunts alone and steps silently through the bushes. In the shadows, she is almost invisible. Suddenly, the red fox dashed in her tracks. She leaps up over the edge of an open garbage can. What is sink? 小魔鬼. Now you can see, you need to follow the events in the text very closely. So we are looking at how the fox hunts alone. So probably she's walking and searching for food, when suddenly she leaps up and try to check on the garbage can. So this tells me that her movement stops. So it will be the red fox stops in her tracks. Take note, red fox here is also singular. She rummages through the can and snatches some scraps of grilled chicken out of a plastic bag. As the fox climbs out, the garbage can lands on the ground, dash a resounding crash. So we are looking at how the garbage can lands on the ground, and at the same time when it lands, something else happened. There's a crash, a loud sound. So we are looking at how these two events are together. They happen together. So we'll say, with a loud crash, a dog barks, lights turn on, but the sly fox has already disappeared into the bushes with a meal in her mouth. The most recognized fox species is the red fox. It is known for dash orange fur and bushy tail. So we are looking at how the fox has these two characteristics. So we'll say we are known for its these two things. Red foxes live in the many diverse habitats such as forests, grassland, and mountains. However, as cities and suburbs spread into the countryside, their dash are swallowed up across the world. So you can see, the foxes live in all these places. They are called their habitat, and it's where they live. They do all their daily activities there. So another word for habitat we could say is their homes. Okay, are swallowed up. Dash or moving away, these clever wild animals learn to thrive near a large population of people. So you can see there are two options. They can move away, that means they move to other forested areas, or they can learn to live with the humans. So you can see that they chose the second option here instead of the first option. And to highlight this preference, we need a conjunction. And that conjunction will be instead. So to avoid humans, these skillful animals only hunt at night, in backyards, gardens, and city parks, despite being active both in the day and at dash. So you can see the first paragraph already talks about how the sun is set and it's getting dark already. So you'll say the fox is active both in day and night. So let's take a look at the subsequent paragraph. So they say red foxes usually hunt dash rather in packs. So at the start we already see she hunts alone. So they already give us the answer at the start. So it will be alone. As they are omnivorous, they dash on both animals and plants. So you can see when we talk about omnivore, most of you will take science will know that we are looking at how the fox can eat things, eat different meat as well as vegetables. So we'll say they feed on both animals and plants. Their diet usually consists of small mammals and birds. And you can see these are additional information. So we'll say as well as something else. They have excellent sense of dash, which allows them to detect rustling noises made by their prey from a distance. So you can see rustling noises. So this is related to your sense of hearing, because these are sounds. So all these clues will help you answer the question very well. Their ability to sprint, turn, and jump with great ease makes them superb dash. So you can see they can hunt their prey. And when you want to eat the prey, you need to do a particular action, which is to hunt. And therefore, these people who hunt will be called hunters. When a prey is first detected, the fox crouches low in the ground and silently stalks its dash and awaits the opportunity to pounce on the small animal. So you can see, when something is detected, that means you are trying to target it. Okay, so that's like your goal. This is something that you're going to eat, something that you're going to hunt. So we'll say that it stalks its target. As foxes are known to be clever and stealthy animals, they have dashed the roles of villains in folktales and legends for many years. So when we talk about role or like a particular appointment in some movie or some legend or some stories, we will usually say they have a okay, very good. Ning Ning, you can say assume, or you can say they have played the roles. Assume the roles. Yeah. The animal is taken to be a symbol dash slyness and wickedness. So we are looking at how this animal is related to these two qualities, right? So to show this relationship, we can say the symbol of something. All right. And with that, we have come to the end of our comprehension close. Are there any questions? All right. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at our synthesis and transformation. The dog chases the ball. So over here, we are interested in an active to passive voice question. So we just need to change to the ball was chased by the dog. So for this kind of question, it's important to identify your verb first, which is chases. The subject of the sentence is that person or that non-human that engages in this action. So in this case, it's the dog. And who's the object or the recipient of the action? The ball. Yep, correct. 小魔鬼. So the object will be at the start and your subject at the end. Rachel wants to win the swimming competition. She has to train harder. Okay, so I think they missed out the word if. So you can see there is this criteria here and the outcome here. So when we have the word if, your criteria needs to be at the start. So Rachel has to train harder if she wants to win the swimming competition. All right. Mrs. Jones said, I'm going to the supermarket tomorrow. So, reporter speech question, the first step is to always highlight. Tomorrow. So it will be she was, the M also need to change, going to the supermarket the next day. So it will be Mrs. Jones said that she was going to the supermarket the next day, or the following day or work also. All right. Sean told his mother that I sleep while playing catch yesterday. So you can see, told here is in past tense. So when we are looking at the reported speech, it needs to be one time period back, which means it must be in the participle form. So sleep will change to he had sleep. Yesterday will be the previous day. I change to he. So as you have observed how I do it, you identify the words first, you underline, edit first, and once you're satisfied, then you write. This is to prevent careless mistake. So it will be Sean told his mother that he had sleep while playing catch the day before or the previous day. Lastly, let's take a look at question 30. It started raining, we had to cancel our hiking trip. So there is a cause and an effect here. The rain is the cause and the effect is you have to cancel the trip. As such, it will be we had to cancel our hiking trip because it started raining. 小魔鬼 is not has sleep, it's had sleep. Take note, everybody. This must be in the past. This is in the past perfect form. So it's not has. When you have has, then that's in a different form already. Alright? So I just give everyone some time to take in the information I've shared for our synthesis and transformation. This is also not really very difficult. I'll say all these questions are pretty standard for PSLE. So if you have difficulties answering or knowing how to do these kind of questions, then you have to learn them quickly. Okay, any questions, do feel free to ask me. Alright, everyone. If there are no further questions, then I thank you so much for joining me this morning on our Writers at Work TikTok session. I'm teacher Nathan, and if you would like to learn more P5 English with me, do join me this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. where we'll be delving into another P5 paper. And next, if you have any friends who are in secondary school and you would like to learn more about our secondary school comprehension, then do join me at about 12:15 where we'll be taking a look at O-level paper. Okay? If not, I'll see everybody on TikTok. Bye-bye. S&T. Hi, can explain the timeline again, like which tense to use? Okay, can. Now let's take a look at the timeline now. So you can see for question 29, the timeline, you sleep. You slept, had sleep. Okay, so what we need to do is, first step, draw this timeline, indicate your present, past, and your participle. After that, you write the corresponding words. Then we observe. In the question told, this already means it's in past tense. So I'm looking at this one, and when I need to move back by one time period, so the answer will be participle. But let's say the question say Sean tells his mother, I sleep while playing catching. Then it will be, I look at this one, then I move back one time period, like that. Okay, that's how I derive the time period and use it where necessary. I hope that answers your question 1-1. Any more questions? If not, then thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye bye.